Do you know why the wealthiest Jewish families in history, the Rothschilds, the Goldmans, the families who built empires that have lasted for centuries, never once counted their money out loud? It's not superstition. It's not paranoia. It's one of the most powerful financial secrets ever encoded into the Talmud. And breaking this one rule has destroyed more fortunes than any stock market crash, any recession, any economic disaster you can name. I'm going to reveal something to you today that most rabbis will never discuss publicly. This is knowledge that was whispered behind closed doors, taught only within families, passed from father to son, from grandfather to grandson for over 3,000 years. And I'm sharing it with you right now because the times we're living in demand it. For the past 40 years, I have dedicated my life to studying the ancient texts, the Talmud, the Kabbalah, the Torah, and the hidden writings that most scholars overlook. My grandfather was a rabbi in Jerusalem. His father was a rabbi before him. This wisdom has been in my bloodline for 7 generations. And what I'm about to teach you today isn't philosophy. It's not motivational nonsense. It's a precise spiritual law that governs how wealth enters your life and how it leaves. Here's what you need to understand before we go any further. By the end of this video, you will know the exact mistake that repels money from your life, the ancient Jewish method to reverse it, and the specific practice you can begin tonight that will start shifting your financial reality within 48 hours. But you must watch until the very end, because if you miss even one piece of this teaching, it won't work. The pieces fit together like a lock and key, and I'm going to hand you every single piece. Now let me tell you where this knowledge comes from and why it carries the weight that it does. I first learned this principle when I was 14 years old. It was the evening after Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. My grandfather called me into his study. I remember the room smelled like old books and candle wax. He sat me down across from his desk, looked me straight in the eyes, and said something I will never forget. He said, "The mouth is the gateway of the soul, and what passes through it determines whether blessings enter or curses follow." At 14, I didn't fully understand what he meant. But then he opened a text, a passage from the Talmud that had been studied by the greatest rabbis for thousands of years, and he explained that this wasn't just a spiritual teaching. This was a practical law, as real and as measurable as gravity. He told me that the Jewish people had survived every persecution, every exile, every attempt at destruction, not because of luck, not because of political power, but because they understood certain universal laws that most of the world ignores entirely. And one of the most critical of those laws governs the relationship between your words and your wealth. He made me promise 2 things that night. First, that I would live by this principle every single day of my life. And second, that when the time was right, I would share it with others who were ready to receive it. That time is now, and you are here because you are ready. The first time I truly witnessed this principle in action, I was 23 years old. I had just finished my studies, and I was struggling financially. I mean genuinely struggling. I had knowledge, I had education, but money seemed to slip through my fingers no matter what I did. I tried budgeting. I tried working longer hours. I tried every conventional piece of financial advice I could find. Nothing worked. Then I remembered what my grandfather taught me. I stopped doing the one thing that was silently destroying my financial energy. I stopped announcing my money. I stopped counting it out loud. I stopped telling people what I had, what I earned, what I was saving, and within 3 weeks, everything shifted. An unexpected opportunity appeared. A debt that had been hanging over me was forgiven. Money came from a direction I never anticipated. That was the moment I knew this wasn't ancient philosophy. This was real, tangible, measurable power. Everything I am teaching you in this video is only the beginning. If you are serious about applying these ancient Jewish wealth principles to your life, I wrote a book called The Ancient Wealth Code. It contains the complete system, all 10 principles that Jewish families have used for 3,000 years to build, protect, and pass down wealth from generation to generation. This is not theory. This is the exact playbook. It is available right now in the description below and pinned in the first comment. Go get your copy today because knowledge without action is worthless. Now let me tell you why this works. Because understanding the principle is just as important as applying it. The Talmud teaches that every word you speak creates a vessel in the spiritual realm. When you count your money out loud, when you announce your wealth, when you tell others exactly what you have, you are creating an open vessel. And an open vessel cannot hold anything. It leaks, it empties. It attracts what the Kabbalah calls the evil eye, which is not some magical curse. It's the natural spiritual consequence of exposing what should be protected. Think about it this way. The most powerful forces in nature are hidden. The roots of a tree are underground. The foundation of a building is beneath the surface. The engine of a car is under the hood. The moment you expose a foundation, it weakens. The moment you uproot a tree, it dies. And the moment you expose your financial energy by counting it out loud, by announcing it, by displaying it, you are uprooting the very foundation of your prosperity. This is why the wealthiest Jewish families in history operated in near silence about their finances. It wasn't secrecy for the sake of secrecy. It was strategic spiritual protection. Now, I know exactly what you're going through right now. I've sat across from thousands of people over the past 4 decades, and I hear the same story repeated over and over again. You wake up every morning with a knot in your stomach. You check your bank account and feel that familiar wave of anxiety. You work hard, probably harder than most people you know, but no matter what you do, the money never seems to stay. It comes in and it flows right back out, like water through a sieve. You feel like you're running on a treadmill, moving your legs as fast as you can, but never actually getting anywhere. And the worst part is that everyone around you has advice. Work harder, get another job, cut your expenses, think positive, but none of it addresses the real problem. None of it touches the root. Here's the truth that nobody wants to tell you. The system most people operate in was never designed for lasting wealth. It was designed for consumption. It was designed to keep you spending, keep you comparing, keep you announcing what you have, so that others can measure themselves against you. Social media has made this 1,000 times worse. People post their paychecks, their purchases, their bank balances. They count their money out loud for the entire world to see. And then they wonder why it disappears. Just look at what's happening right now in the world. Inflation is crushing families across every continent. The cost of living has skyrocketed in 2025. Housing prices are at historic highs. Wages haven't kept pace. And yet the billionaires, the quietly wealthy families, the ones who understand these ancient principles, they continue to prosper. They continue to grow. They continue to build generational wealth, while the rest of the world argues about politics and panics about the economy. This isn't coincidence. This is universal law in action. The Talmud says, "Blessing is found only in things hidden from the eye." Read that again. Blessing is found only in things hidden from the eye. This means that the moment you make your wealth visible, the moment you count it out loud, the moment you display it for the world to see, the blessing begins to drain from it. Most financial advice focuses entirely on the physical level. How much you earn, how much you save, how much you invest. But wealth doesn't begin at the physical level. Wealth begins at the spiritual level. And if you don't address the spiritual leaks in your life, no amount of budgeting or investing will save you. You're trying to fill a bathtub with the drain wide open. You've been told that talking about money openly is healthy, that transparency about finances is a virtue, that sharing your success inspires others. That's a lie. I've studied these texts for over 40 years. I've observed thousands of people, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that the people who talk most about their money are the ones who lose it fastest. Every single time, without exception. The Jewish people understood this thousands of years ago. That's why wealth has been sustained across generations in Jewish families at rates that defy statistical probability. It's not about intelligence. It's not about being chosen. It's about knowing and applying specific spiritual laws that most people will never learn because they've been told those laws don't exist. Here's the universal truth. There are invisible forces that govern the flow of prosperity. The ancient rabbis mapped these forces with the same precision that modern scientists map the laws of physics, and they discovered that speech, the words you say out loud, is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It can create, it can destroy, it can attract wealth, or it can repel it permanently. When you align your speech with these universal laws, when you learn to protect your wealth through silence, when you stop counting your money out loud, you are not fighting against the current anymore. You are flowing with it. And that is when everything changes. I've personally witnessed this transformation in every type of person imaginable. People drowning in debt who became financially free within a year. Business owners on the verge of bankruptcy who turned everything around in months. Families who had struggled for generations who finally broke the cycle. And in every single case, they followed the exact principles I'm about to teach you now. Now I'm going to reveal the exact method. This comes directly from the Kabbalistic tradition, refined through generations of rabbinical teaching, and tested across thousands of years of practical application. It works. But before I show you the steps, you need to understand something critical. This is not a game. This is not something you do casually or try once and forget about. When you begin to apply these ancient laws, real forces begin to move in your life. Real energy begins to shift, and you will see real results as long as you follow every step exactly as I teach it. You might be wondering why this specific approach and not something else. The answer goes back over 3,000 years to the time when the oral traditions were being formalized. The ancient rabbis discovered through centuries of observation that wealth follows specific spiritual patterns. They tested these patterns across generations. They refined them. They documented them in sacred texts that most people have never read and wouldn't understand even if they did. What I'm teaching you isn't my invention. I'm simply the messenger. I'm passing down what was passed down to me, which was passed down through 7 generations before me. Here's what makes this different from anything else you've tried. First, it works at the spiritual level, not just the physical level. Second, it uses specific practices that have been proven across 3 millennia. Third, it requires your active participation. You're not just wishing or hoping. You're doing something precise and intentional. Fourth, results come fast, usually within days, not months. And fifth, you don't need to be Jewish. You don't need any special background. You just need to follow the instructions exactly as I give them. The Talmud teaches that the world stands on 3 things: on Torah, on service, and on acts of loving kindness. This is the foundation. When you understand that wealth is a form of service, that prosperity is meant to flow through you, and not just to you, everything clicks into place. You're not trying to manipulate reality. You're aligning with laws that already exist. And when you align with universal law, the universe has no choice but to respond. Before you begin, you need to prepare yourself mentally and spiritually. This isn't about being perfect, but it is about being clear and intentional. First, choose a time when you won't be interrupted. Early evening is ideal for this practice, preferably after sunset, when the energy of the day is settling. If morning works better for you, do it before you speak to anyone else. Your first words of the day carry the most power. Second, make sure you're in a calm state. If you're angry, anxious, or distracted, wait. The energy you bring to this practice matters enormously. Take 5 minutes to breathe deeply and center yourself. Third, set your intention clearly. Know exactly what you're working toward. Vague intentions create vague results. Be specific in your mind about what financial transformation you need. Fourth, trust the process completely. Even if some of what I teach you seems strange or counterintuitive, follow it exactly. Remember, this has worked for thousands of years for millions of people. Your doubt is the only thing that can block it. Are you ready? Good. Here's what you need. The first element is silence. This might seem strange, listing silence as a physical element. But in the Kabbalistic tradition, silence is not the absence of something. It's the presence of something. Silence is a container. It's a vessel. The Kabbalah teaches that before creation, there was infinite silence, and from that silence, everything was born. When you practice deliberate silence around your finances, you're creating a spiritual container strong enough to hold blessing. Every time you resist the urge to announce what you have, every time you choose not to count your money in front of others, you are strengthening this container. I've seen silence alone transform people's financial lives. I've seen people who simply stop talking about their money start receiving more of it within weeks. The specification here is absolute. From this day forward, you never count your money out loud, not in front of others, not even when you're alone. You can look at it, you can manage it, you can plan with it, but your lips do not form the numbers. The second element is a written intention. In the Jewish tradition, writing carries tremendous spiritual weight. The Torah itself is written. The sacred scrolls are written by hand. There's a reason for this. When you write something, you transfer energy from the spiritual realm into the physical realm. You need a small piece of clean paper and a pen, not a phone, not a computer, a physical pen and physical paper. The act of writing by hand activates neural pathways and spiritual channels that typing cannot reach. The third element is a coin. Any coin will work, but if you can find one made of silver or one that has personal significance, even better. In the Talmud, a coin represents the entire concept of material sustenance. It's small, but it carries the full weight of provision. The rabbis taught that a single coin given in charity has the power to avert harsh decrees. That same concentrated power exists when you use a coin as a focal point for this practice. Keep one specific coin set aside for this purpose. Don't spend it. Don't mix it with your regular change. This becomes your anchor coin, your physical connection to the spiritual laws of wealth. The fourth element is a glass of water. Water in Kabbalah represents the flow of divine abundance. It's the most receptive substance in creation. Water absorbs energy, carries intention, and purifies everything it touches. A simple glass of clean water placed beside you during this practice serves as a spiritual amplifier. It receives the energy of your intention and magnifies it. After the practice, you'll drink this water, physically internalizing the blessing. Now here is the exact procedure. Step 1. Sit in a quiet place with your written intention, your coin, and your glass of water in front of you. Hold the coin in your right hand. In Kabbalah, the right hand represents the column of mercy and giving. Close your eyes and take 7 slow breaths. 7 is the number of completion in Jewish mysticism. With each breath, feel yourself becoming calmer, more centered, more present. By the 7th breath, you should feel a noticeable shift in your inner state. Step 2. Open your eyes and read your written intention silently. Do not read it out loud. This is critical. Remember, the core teaching here is that blessing lives in what is hidden. Read it with your eyes only, but feel every word deeply. As you read, visualize the outcome as if it has already happened. See yourself living in financial peace. See your accounts growing. See unexpected blessings arriving. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. Hold this vision for at least 60 seconds. Step 3. Place the coin on top of the written intention. This is a symbolic act of sealing. You are placing material substance on top of spiritual intention, binding the two together. As you place the coin down, say these words silently in your mind. I seal my intention with faith. My wealth grows in silence. My blessings are protected from every eye. Feel the weight of those words. Mean every syllable. Step 4. Place your left hand over the coin and paper, and your right hand over your heart. The left hand in Kabbalah represents the column of judgment and receiving. By covering your intention with your left hand, you are receiving the blessing into your life. Your right hand on your heart connects this blessing to your deepest self. Hold this position for 3 minutes. During this time, breathe naturally and maintain your visualization. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the image of your financial transformation. Step 5. Remove your hands and take the glass of water. Hold it in both hands. In your mind, silently repeat the following words 3 times. As water flows, so abundance flows to me. As water nourishes, so wealth nourishes my life. As water is pure, so my intentions are pure. After the 3rd repetition, drink the entire glass of water slowly. Feel it entering your body. Visualize it carrying the energy of your intention into every cell of your being. Step 6. Fold the paper with the coin inside it. Fold it toward you, not away from you. Folding toward you symbolizes drawing blessings inward. Fold it exactly 3 times. Then place this folded paper with the coin inside your wallet, your purse, or wherever you keep your money. It must stay with your money at all times. Do not open it. Do not show it to anyone. Do not talk about it. Step 7. For the next 7 days, repeat this practice every evening. Same time, same place if possible, same intention. On the 7th day, after your final practice, take the paper out and without reading it again, burn it safely or bury it in the earth. Keep the coin in your wallet permanently. It has been charged with 7 days of focused intention. It becomes your silent guardian of wealth. Now, after you complete all the steps, here's what will happen. Within the first 24 hours, you might feel a sense of lightness, as if a weight has been lifted from your shoulders. Some people report unexpected calm around money, a feeling they haven't experienced in years. This is normal. It means the spiritual blockages are beginning to dissolve. Within 3 to 7 days, you should start seeing tangible shifts. This could be an unexpected refund, an offer you didn't anticipate, a debt being reduced or forgiven, money arriving from a source you'd forgotten about. Pay close attention to everything. The universe speaks in whispers before it shouts. Within 30 days, the full transformation should be evident. Your relationship with money will have fundamentally changed, not just externally, but internally. You'll notice that you no longer feel anxious about finances. You'll notice that opportunities seem to find you instead of you chasing them. You'll notice that money stays with you longer and grows more consistently. The key is to trust the process and not obsess over results. Do the practice, then release it. The universe handles the rest. Now, before you begin any of this, I need to give you critical warnings, and I need you to take these seriously. Warning number 1, never, under any circumstances, tell anyone what you're doing. The moment you announce this practice, you violate the core principle. Blessing lives in what is hidden. I learned this the hard way early in my journey. I was excited about the results I was seeing, and I told a close friend. Within a week, the flow stopped completely. I had to start over from the beginning. Your silence about this practice is just as important as the practice itself. Warning number 2. Never use this with the intention of taking from others. This method aligns you with universal law, and universal law demands ethical intention. If you approach this with greed, with the desire to deprive others, or with envy in your heart, it will backfire. I've seen people attempt to use these principles for selfish manipulation, and the consequences were severe. Financial losses, broken relationships, health problems. The Talmud is explicit about this. The measure you use for others is the measure used for you. Warning number 3. Do not modify the practice. Do not add steps. Do not change the order. Do not substitute elements because you think you know better. This method was refined over thousands of years by minds far greater than yours or mine. Every element is there for a reason. Every sequence matters. I've seen well-meaning people try to improve on ancient wisdom, and they always end up worse off than when they started. The Talmud says, whoever has 100 wants 200. This is a warning about the nature of desire. Use this practice to create sufficiency, to create security, to create the ability to serve others. Do not use it to feed an endless hunger for more. That path leads to destruction. Let me share something deeper with you now. The Talmud teaches that sustenance is as difficult as the splitting of the Red Sea. When I first studied this passage with my grandfather, it confused me. Why would the rabbis compare earning a living to one of the greatest miracles in history? After decades of applying these teachings, I finally understood. They were telling us that sustenance, real and lasting provision, requires divine intervention. It requires alignment with forces greater than our own effort. You can work 20 hours a day, but if you're violating spiritual law, if you're counting your money out loud, if you're exposing your blessings to every eye, you're swimming against a divine current. And no amount of human effort can overcome divine resistance. But when you align with these laws, when you protect your wealth through silence, when you practice with pure intention, the Red Sea parts for you. Obstacles dissolve. Paths appear where there were none, and what seemed impossible becomes inevitable. I'll be honest with you. There was a period in my life, in my early 30s, when I drifted from these practices. I became successful enough to think I didn't need them anymore. I started talking openly about my finances. I counted my blessings out loud, thinking it was gratitude. It wasn't. It was exposure. And within 18 months, I lost nearly everything. Not all at once, but slowly, like air leaking from a tire. By the time I noticed, the damage was severe. It was my grandfather's words echoing in my memory that brought me back. I recommitted to the practice of silent wealth. I stopped counting out loud. I stopped announcing. I stopped exposing. And within 6 months, everything began to rebuild. Faster than before. Stronger than before. That experience taught me a lesson I've never forgotten. Knowing isn't enough. You have to live it. Every single day. Over the past 4 decades, I've taught these exact principles to thousands of people across the world. I've seen factory workers become business owners. I've seen single mothers dig themselves out of crushing debt. I've seen retirees on fixed incomes experience financial miracles they never imagined possible. And in every single case, they followed the exact method I just taught you. They didn't modify it. They didn't skip steps. They didn't try to improve on 3,000 years of refined wisdom. They simply trusted the ancient teachings and followed the instructions. That's all you need to do. Here's why this matters so urgently right now. We are living in one of the most economically unstable periods in modern history. In 2025, global markets are volatile. Trade wars and tariffs are disrupting supply chains. Inflation hasn't fully subsided. The cost of housing, food, and basic necessities continues to rise while wages remain stagnant. People are more financially stressed than at any point in recent memory. And at the same time, we're living in an era of maximum exposure. Social media has turned everyone's financial life into a public performance. People post their salaries, their purchases, their investment portfolios, their bank balances. They are counting their money out loud for the entire world to see. And then they wonder why it vanishes. These ancient Jewish principles work in any economy. They work in any political system. They work in any situation. That's because they're based on universal spiritual laws that don't change with the stock market. When everything around you is chaos, these principles are your anchor. When the world tells you there's no hope, these methods prove otherwise. If you're ready to activate this ancient wisdom in your own life, write in the comments right now. My wealth grows in silence. I read every comment. I want to see thousands of declarations of faith. do it now. Let me summarize what you've learned today. First, counting your money out loud violates a fundamental spiritual law that causes wealth to drain from your life. The Talmud explicitly teaches that blessing is found only in things hidden from the eye. Second, the practice of silent wealth